February 26, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. There was no economic data today to really move the market. This is what the market looked like today. It was very low volume. Personally, I thought today it was a little challenging because the volume and the volatility is very slow compared to other days. And just lately, just this whole month has been very slow trading. So it was difficult in two regards. One, just finding the right setups in the right context, because as you can see after the fact, you can tell it's kind of downtrending, but it didn't fit in a very nice channel at all. So even if you try to make the channel fit here early on, you see a violation here and then another violation here. They try to drag it down to here and kind of didn't really follow nicely for the bottom. The top, you could argue it did kind of have some bounces, but there weren't any clean setups. On top of that, there were all these kind of small little consolidation areas, and prices took a while to fully close each candle. I took a total of 3 trades today. 2 of them were in quick succession, and to be honest, I won 2 and lost 1, so I'm just pretty much break even, a little red after commissions, and I'm not too keen on any of the trades I took today, but there weren't very many that I could find. So overall, it was kind of a challenging day to be patient, and I think had I been better or on top of my game, it would have ended as a no trade day instead of a 2-win, 1-loss day. So I'm going to go into the trades right now. Part of the thing is when price action is so slow, it's hard for me to kind of sit tight because I kind of fall into the well, kind of the deficiency of like starting to see things that aren't there just because I'm, sitting for so long thinking, well, there has to be a trade. Obviously, I can't have sit through this so long without something setting up. But apparently it is. And hopefully, I don't know, just hopefully in the next few days or just going forward, things get a little easier because these last few trading sessions, if you kind of look back in the past, they've been very slow. Like this was a very slow day. I remember this was kind of a very slow day. There wasn't much happening and they're just not easy trading. So here we go. In the pre-market, it looked like things were going to rally. So in the pre-market, it sold off, it chopped around, and it started to rally. And it had one bounce here. My first initial thought was today was going to be a rally day, kind of a bullish rally. I found the bottom of this yellow channel that fit pretty well. The top I wasn't too sure of because I saw this and maybe thinking like 1 touch, 2 touch, and a slight overshoot here. And even if I went with that, right on the open, there was no setup that I could see. So you do have like a first entry short here, and then it kind of consolidates or tries to push at a resistance up here. This is pre-market high, pre-market low. Technically, you have a second entry short right here. So it's like new low, first entry short right here, second entry short, but there's no good indication, no good feel to go short yet because you're already pressing against the top. You don't know how strong the top of this range is made by the pre-market high is. So it's definitely not a trade I think you could take. And if you did go short, looks like you would have gotten stopped out. Prices then continue moving. You have a new high here. It's a first entry long pullback. Technically, you have a second entry long, but this isn't a very good signal bar. It is riding on the EMA. You could argue that it's going to bounce off of this up channel, but I didn't really like because it just came from a new high, right? It's not trying to push back up. It's still potentially in this trading channel, but this signal bar isn't very good. So I decided there was no trade there. And, this candle previously, the last 3 candles were pretty much, doji, and this could almost be a doji. So it's very risky when you see this and you think, well, obviously I'm going to go long. Even the trigger bar after the signal bar, it just went 1 tick up and it's very tight. So it's very, very much telling me, sit on my hands. When prices start moving down, it goes in the screen channel. So I'm thinking, okay, based on this, is this strong enough? Am I really in a trading range or is this a trend channel going up? Prices broke out. Is it going to go back up and test its highs? But it also broke out of this green channel. And I'm thinking, is it going to come back and test its lows? So I saw kind of like 1 attempt down, push up. This is actually where I set up and take my first trade. I saw this and I saw 2 legs up after the break of this green down channel. So I'm thinking it's probably going to try to come back down and test this green lows. But in hindsight, this was a rather aggressive trade because it's a little unclear because you could also make the argument that this is the first break, this is one attempt up, and it could try to come up and test this high as well. Plus, this isn't really a clean second entry. You do have two little legs. If you look at a different time scale, you could argue there's a first entry short, second entry short, but that is feeling a little iffy. The EMA really isn't at play, so even though it broke below, and I'm thinking, okay, well, it's going to start moving back down, it's hard to really consider that when the EMA isn't really acting as any kind of indicator right now. It's just too horizontal. So after this close, though, I waited to see if it was going to break below. So it opened, it kind of chopped around, came back up. I dropped my order at the lows here, looking for at least one quick point for a scalp. And in hindsight, I think this wasn't really the best trade, probably should have been skipped, and I was able to get a profit on it. Then prices continue moving. Here I'm seeing a potential triple test, potential fail breakout here because you have a new low, first entry short, pull back, second entry short. This isn't a very good signal bar for a second entry short. You have one leg up, pull it back, second leg up. You could consider it as a measured move and prices could be coming back down, but I wasn't too sure. I think what made me more confident is if this closed red, then I would have thought, okay, it's probably a failed breakout, probably moving back into range. But then when the signal bar printed and then this is the trigger bar, it closed rather bullish. So I definitely didn't like that. But then you see the next candle flash down and prices move, it kind of consolidates. You have two kind of legs going down, but I don't see anything I particularly like. You could argue there's a triple test here, try to push down once, try to push down a second time, try to push down a third time. What I didn't really like about this third press is even though it is finding some kind of support here, it is making lower lows every time. So I don't know if things are starting to trend down. Plus, this is what you see at this time of day. It went up, and now it's consolidating. So you could argue maybe prices are going to come back up, but I just didn't feel that comfortable with it. And this candle here was rather large, as three really strong bear candles down, and then this is the first green candle up. So to just jump on it felt a little risky. Prices then continue moving. At this point, I was thinking, is there some kind of resistance trend line here? That's what I drew, but as I kind of showed, I couldn't find a good bottom channel. So I was just keenly aware that anytime it comes up here, look for a potential short. But then when it came down to, because I was playing with this throughout the trading day, came down to here, don't trust it so much yet because you only have really one touch so far. So then prices trend down. It kind of falls into what I think is this green channel going down. You technically, well, you don't really have a second entry short because the count resets here. You hit a new low, you have a first entry short, technically you have a second entry short. You kind of have a third entry short. And then this is where I took two trades in quick succession, and they should have just been completely skipped. I shouldn't have even done anything. But this is what happened. So I saw this as new low. I saw this as one push up, and I counted this as first entry short. I kind of merged this with the first uptrend, like one leg up, first entry short, second entry short. However, it's technically three short attempts. First entry short, second entry short, third entry short. But I kind of rolled it together thinking I saw something more than it was there. It's a break of this green down channel. And I didn't allow the price action to really push two up clearly. It just went one push up, two push up. But when I saw this, I was thinking one push up. I didn't wait for the second push up. I just said, oh, obviously prices are coming back down. I just attributed extra respect to the EMA early on for no reason. And I took the entry right at the lows here. And as you can see, this big green candle punished me. It stopped me out, and for good reason, because this was no real setup. It was not clear. Should have left it alone. But here's what happened. Two more candles later, about 2 more minutes later, or actually just 1 more minute later on the timestamp, I saw this as a visual second entry short. So I grouped this as one leg up, pull back, second leg up. And when I saw the signal bar close like that, I saw kind of convince myself that, well, obviously you're right with the short because prices are trending down. Overall bias is coming down, but it's a little early to argue for that yet. Yes, it is starting to trend down, but to take a trade based upon that and the signal bar off of a first entry short, second entry short, technically this is a potentially fourth entry short. So it's not clear at all. So that's how come I have two second entry short visuals. I took two trades, one here, it failed. Then I took one tick below and I was able to get a quick scalp out. But as I said, I was just kind of fabricating too many reasons at this point to take a trade because I definitely just lost on this trade. And I was thinking, well, obviously I'm right, market's wrong, which is completely bogus. And I decided to enter again. And this third trade, I was green. So it's one green, one red, one green. So I'm pretty much kind of a little bit in the red after commissions. I should have just not taken these trades at all because it wasn't clear, it wasn't anything. But I did kind of realize what I was doing. I was kind of slowly approaching tilt. I decided I need to step back and just watch because up until here, this is all the price action that's unfolded. It's not very much. But I knew that I needed to just kind of calm down a bit. Well, this is a new low. So first entry short, second entry short. I don't like this second entry short because this is an inside bar. It is a very strong closing bar, but the market bias is starting to trend down, but this is congestion. This is just very choppy, hard to tell what's really going on. So I didn't, I marked it as second entry short, but there's no real other reason to take a trade here unless you just, well, unless you see something that I definitely don't. And prices continue chopping. It starts moving up on this yellow channel, but I didn't really like this yellow channel too much because there's too many violations. It didn't fit clean. And it kind of fit on the top here, but not super clean as well. It comes up and it touches this downtrend. And at this point, I wasn't sure if this one was really here. I kind of dragged it down here, but I'm going to go ahead and delete it because it didn't really help out at all. But it is hitting some kind of resistance here. So I was looking back and I was saying, was there some kind of setup here? Well, not really, because there was a new low, first entry short, second entry short, third entry short, fourth entry short. So fourth entry short, I don't know any rules that apply to a fourth entry short. Even if you broke it up into first entry short, second entry short count resets, this count resetting here is a little odd because this isn't a new low, it's not a new high, it's just kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's just breaking this count into partitions of two. So that if you did say that, and you say there's a new low, first entry short, second entry short, I suppose you could convince yourself there's a trade there, maybe a triple test because there's one attempt up here, second attempt, third attempt. But in real time, I didn't process it like that. I just said, okay, well, it's a little confusing. Definitely need to stop. Let's just see what happens. Looks like it would have worked out because if you marked it as a triple test, I could see that. But coupling it with a first entry short, second entry short, count reset, first entry short, second entry short, I can't believe that. But here there is a down push and then a triple test. So, a potential trade here, but I didn't see that in time. Then prices move down, it goes on the screen channel, breaks up, makes a new low, makes another new low. And here, you could say it's a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. Maybe the second entry long, but I just didn't really like that. It's the break of the screen channel, but it kind of violated it quite a bit. So it broke out here, almost pushed back in, made another attempt up, and then what's to say to, think that I'm going to go long here? Because technically this is the signal bar, but you could argue that the trigger bar is pretty strong and there's enough room to the highs, but I just didn't feel, I felt just extra cautious today, so I didn't really like it. It is an engulfing bar though. The prices continue moving. It starts selling off, goes into this yellow channel. It just gets a little choppy, a little hard to read. It's a new low, first entry short. Technically, have a second entry short here, but this isn't a good entry bar. This isn't a good signal bar to go short. And then it doesn't really fail until right about here, but then it feels a little bit far away. You could argue that it's going to test the highs of this green channel. And then it moves up, made kind of two measured legs up, but here it's hard to convince myself to take a short here because you could say it's a new low here, first entry short, that's all you have. So even if you took it down here and you saw it as a visual, first entry short, second entry short, it's an inside bar. There is enough room to the EMA, but I just didn't like the setup too much. Prices then continue moving. You kind of have another setup here as a new low here, first entry short, second entry short. You could say, there is this resistance here is kind of coming into play now. The second entry short is here. It is a break of this yellow channel. It made one attempt up, pull back, second attempt up. And so second attempt up, second entry short here. Let me just mark it. The second entry short. Yes, it's a possible trade, but I wasn't quite in tune, so I didn't see it that way in time. And prices continue chopping. You have a new high, first entry long, second entry long. This is your second entry long signal bar, but it's an inside bar. I don't like that. Also notice that previously it was just a little congested. Pops around, you technically have a new high here again because it's a new swing high. First entry long, pullback, second entry long. This is the second entry long signal bar. It's a good signal bar. You could argue, well, there's only really a double test, but it's also inside bar. So I don't really quite like it because I didn't really believe that it was in a trading range yet till it got about here. And prices then continue moving. You have a new high, first entry long, second entry long. Again, you could argue it's bounce off the bottom, but if you did do that, this isn't a convincing bar to go long on, even if though you're at the bottom, because it looks like it's trying to press through. Here, the subsequent bar isn't very convincing either because it closed at the low. It's doing a little bit better now, but it looks like it's having problems. It's struggling to try to push back up. Then after this one, definitely I thought, okay, there would be no trade here. Breaks through, consolidates again, and just kind of gets whippy toward the close. So overall, it was kind of a slow. It wasn't very easy, not very obvious to me, but yeah, just this whole month has been rather, I guess, a lot tougher trading than I've noticed previously. So I'm not sure if this is just the time of year or traders are just taking a break, but there's no holidays or no real reason to take a break. It was just kind of really slow trading that has been pretty challenging for me. And that's not might not surprise anyone because I don't consider myself an expert, but it's just like I would at least think there'd be some cleaner setups and a little bit easier trading, but apparently not. So hopefully that was helpful.